So, hello everyone. Sagar just now told me that I think most of the things that I'm going to cover in my slides are already covered in one of these sessions. So that is the disadvantage of talking in the end, talking towards the end. So I'll try to make sure that I talk everything that is not there on the slide. So let me start like this. Whatever we are calling as software testing tools today, 95% of them I can challenge that will disappear. Be it Selenium, Playwright, and all those things. Because if you see already, all some time back, we have seen a demo from Nagaraj's team member, wherein actually a simple English line is able to drive the browser, right? And that is the future of software testing essentially. Okay. Have any of you used the OpenAI's computer news? Okay. So if you have, so if you haven't, you can start using it. In computer news, whatever you typically do Selenium, Playwright, etc., 95% of that can be done with simple English using computer news. Have any of you used Comet browser? Comet. Yeah. So obviously, Perplex's Comet also can act as a software testing tool. So, if any of you have invested in any software testing tools, it's the right time to take out your shares. Okay. So, because right now, be it computer use or Perplexity's agentic way of interacting with an application, all these things, if you see, the line that we are headed is completely on that front, wherein the basic agents will take commands and do things for you. If you want actually today, you can even use for buying cheap products on Amazon, etc., using computer use. That's a classic example that they show. But the same thing can be done, can be used even to do software testing as we see it. So, also, one more thing is, right now, let us say totally there are, let's just say 100 million applications with user in today's world. Minimum of 75% of them are going to disappear in the next 1 to 2 years. Suppose let's take Amazon. Okay. So whatever I typically do in Amazon, go search products, add to cart, buy using various payment methods and all. Suppose let us say whatever I typically do in Amazon, starting to finish my user journey of typical commerce user stories, retail and buying some things. So if suppose let us say all of that ChatGPT can do today, already it's in beta stage, where you can actually say that I am in Bengaluru, so and so address, get me the cheapest t-shirt, polo t-shirt that I want to wear today evening. Just like that, you just say it automatically it connects to Amazon and completely does the transaction for you, and basically without you getting into Amazon.com, you can complete whatever activity that you want. So if that is the way how interactions are going to be, even net banking applications also will go away. Net banking applications will go away. Net banking will not go away. I mean to say, the user interfaces that we are seeing today are going to disappear. Okay. So most of them, except for healthcare, banking, and certain enterprise class applications, most of the consumer facing applications that we are using today are going to go away. And then how do you interact with them? Well, prompts, essentially. Okay, so that is going to the future. So it is the right time to start learning the testing tools which are exclusively built for testing AI agents. So PromptFoo. So have you heard of PromptFoo? Anyone? PromptFoo. Yeah, PromptFoo is going to be one of the leading tools for software testers. Ragas. So RAGAS, Ragas, for testing all the retrieval-oriented things. And if any of you are blessed with the academics in computer science, this is time to celebrate because think of this. What is going to happen is whatever we are typically Okay, so whatever we are calling today, most of the, for example, sometime back Nagaraj in his talk spoke about if a particular change is introduced in an enterprise, how to make sure that the regression testing gets smarter where you can go travel the entire tree of test cases. Let's say there are some 100,000 test cases in an enterprise, and pick exactly the risk-based test cases which are prone to fail. Have any of you heard the term POKA? Okay, so okay, POKA, YOKE. So POKA is a Japanese technique for preventing defects. Okay, there are so many engineering methodologies which are linked to POKA that is typically used in manufacturing, but also now its role in software testing is going to be extremely important, especially if an enterprise is introducing a change where all defects can occur. I'm sure in your ISTQB and such kind of academics you might have learned about defect clustering. So this defect clustering, error casing, all these things are no longer theoretical concepts. They are going to become part and parcel of the new AI test agents that we are building. Okay, almost every enterprise in the world today is building what they're differently naming it. Some people call it an impact analyzer, some people call it a smart regression planner, etc., etc., etc. All of that is dependent on one simple thing. Graph theory. You know that graph theory is, graph theory, whatever, if any of you have already studied graph theory in your academics, that is going to be one of your forefront skills in software testing going forward. Every enterprise is today busy in building what they are calling as an enterprise knowledge graph. So, enterprise knowledge graph is essentially all the applications, all the modules, all the domain features of that particular enterprise. Everything is being represented as a knowledge graph. So, if you have a knowledge graph, so naturally, if a change is introduced by an enterprise, it becomes very easy using graph theory to walk. So, if you, most of you have seen, you may have heard of graph walk or graph travels graph like that. So it is very easy to find where the defects could be and which are the risky areas in an application stack which are prone to errors and things like that using graph theory. Yeah, so that is going to be graph theory is definitely, it's time that everyone learns graph theory as one of their skills, if not already. Yeah? Because every enterprise is now building a knowledge graph, and that knowledge graph is going to drive all the change and impact based software testing going forward. So let me only focus more on the careers part of it. Okay, so this would be a typical job description that I will let you read it yourself. That you will see very soon for software testers. Yeah, own end-to-end quality of AI features and agents. So what you are going to test are AI agents themselves. Like, so applications are going to disappear, most of them, as we are seeing them as today. Whatever we are calling as application generally, most of the user interface based applications are going to go away and they are going to be replaced by agents. So therefore, testing agents is what our life going forward. Yeah. So you will see that so far we have been living in a world where we call as expected results, right? If you execute a test case, you have an expected result. So there is that term itself is going to be it's expected that expected results will disappear from software testing. Okay. And it is going to be replaced by acceptable results. Yeah, that's what it is going to be, acceptable results. So the metrics that you are going to see going forward are not binary values like pass, fail, or basically 0, 1. No, that kind of thing are going to go away and it is going to be replaced with acceptable results. Yeah. So suppose let us say if ChatGPT itself has to be tested, can there be any expected result? Obviously not, right? You know that the same prompt will yield different results different times, right? So therefore, there are going to be a new word with the entire metrics that we are typically using in software testing. KPIs won't change, but the actual metrics, how you measure the success and things like that, it's all going to be in percentages. Yeah, that is what is the word that we have already entered. So, suppose let us say an enterprise has implemented one particular any application. Okay, so now AI is a really great opportunity for all software testers. So suppose let us say an enterprise has used AI for whatever use case, okay, healthcare maybe for claims processing of if it's an insurance company and things like that. So any use case that you take in any enterprise today is going to be done via AI, and the way how you are going to test it is going to be completely different. For example, let us say I want to test ChatGPT, okay. Uh, Most of the tests that we did initially on ChatGPT itself was to see if it is biased towards the Western world rather than Indian. Okay, that was one of the things that we have done. Now, most of it was manually done, but there are so many tools that are specifically built for testing such kind of things. So, one leading tool is IBM Fairness 360. Okay, so Fairness 360 actually, if a software using AI has to be tested, we have to define data sets in such a way that you are testing if it has any bias or if is it following all the ethical standards or not. So, if suppose let us say bias testing has to be done and ethics testing has to be done, you need to define what we are calling as data slices. And to define those data slices, there are a new breed of products like IBM Fairness 360 that I just now mentioned. Yeah. So that is going to be one of the new things that you are going to see. And most of what you are going to be doing is testing this graph that I just now spoke about, enterprise knowledge graph, and all the wealth of knowledge that is there in any enterprise, all the documents right now as we talk are getting pipelined into what we call as a semantic database. Yeah. So semantic databases are going to be the new breed of products that are going to be used. For example, BB8. Yeah. So there are so many tools exclusively built for semantic databases. So right now, all the enterprises in the world are very, very busy converting all their documents, historical documents, data, etc., into semantic databases and graph databases. So two things that should appear in front of your eyes is all the applications, throw them away. You are going to deal with semantic databases and graph databases. Yeah. So for example, BB8 is a semantic database. Neo4j. Have you used Neo4j? Okay, so Neo4j is going to be a graph database. It can represent the entire knowledge about an enterprise in a single graph, where you will have the various nodes, and various nodes are connected to other nodes using what we call as edges. Okay, so therefore, what you are going to test are semantic databases, essentially RAG, retrieval augmented generation, using tools like RAGAs. And also, first of all, testing your AI interface itself using ConfQ that I just now mentioned some time back. And also, you are going to use IBM Fairness 360 and tools like that to check that there is no bias, toxicity, and all those things. Yeah. And one very, very important tool is it's a class of tools, testing tools called guardrails. Yeah. So, if a particular AI application is processing a prompt, we know that output should not contain any toxic words. We know that the output should not contain any secure information. If suppose let us say such kind of validation has to be done, how will you do that? One leading product today in market is guardrails.ai. Yeah. So the name itself is guardrails. There are other solutions also, but basically what you are going to do is using guardrails to make sure that there is no toxicity, there is no leakage of information and things like that. Yeah. Most of you, if you are exposed to security testing, you know SQL injection, right? So SQL injection's equivalent is prompt injection. If prompt injection itself has to be tested, there are tools for that. Yeah, like the guardrails thing that I just now mentioned. Yeah. So as I was saying some time back, we will not have any metrics. The typical metrics are going to be how grounded an answer is. Is it free from bias and is it crossing any ethical limits and things like that? And also how precise it is. Is an enterprise able to capable of recalling all the relevant knowledge for a given query or not? And also the accuracy and such kind of things. So all these things are going to be in percentages. Yeah, and not in like yes no kind of thing. So that's how the new world is going to look like. Yeah, the first skill which you already think that you have, which you may have to again ask yourself after this, is English. Essentially, so when I say English, please don't take me light. So There are, see, we know that the interface to any AI application is in natural language, right? So if natural language itself has to be tested, you have so many different things. Most of you know that basically tokens, you might have heard of tokens, right? In ChatGPT, when you enter a particular prompt, all your words are going to be first converted into tokens. Yeah. The new vocabulary for a tester is what is a lemma. Yeah. And that lemmatization is one of the processes. First, what you have to learn is, if you have not already, consider that English itself is something, it's your application under test. Your new AUT is English. And how do you test that? So, if you have not already used, you can start looking at NLTK, Natural Language Toolkit, yeah? Or Spacey. NLTK and Spacey are two very, very popular packages for natural language processing. So, NLP is going to be a must-have skill for every tester in this world. Testers are, some people call themselves as quality engineers, QA, whatever. So, I haven't mentioned, but essentially when I said English, all that I am talking about is NLP. Not just your normal basic prompt engineering. Prompt engineering is, of course, definitely is a compulsory skill that we all know, that I don't have to tell you. But if you have to go a little bit beyond prompt engineering, what you have to learn is Natural Language Toolkit and Spacey or any other NLP library. Basically, first of all, you can see what is the lemma thing that I said and things like that, and how tokenization works. All these things are going to be mandatory skills for testing any AI application in this world. And I am saying that 75% of the applications we are using today will die in the next 2 to 3 years. And all of them are going to be replaced by AI agents. AI agents interface is English. English itself is not something that you can take it light with simple basic prompts. No. You need to be really, if you are already blessed with a lot of good knowledge in English grammar, definitely learning NLP will not be a big deal. But NLP itself is going to be your basic application under test. Your application under test is the English itself. And how do you do that? Using natural language processing toolkits, NLP toolkits. Yeah? Right now, everyone is talking in the testing world about, there are a bunch of widgets in my screen, how to select a particular object and how to smartly select it, etc., etc., etc. What I am saying is that screen itself is going to go out, so there is nothing to select. Yeah? So that's the future. There is nothing to select in this screen. It's not about your things like, and also right now. Yeah. So. And today, in fact, actually, already we have computer use perplexity common browser, which are extremely good in taking basic English and actually identifying the objects and automatically deriving them. And anyway, you already may have seen that playwright MCP examples and all. But also, actually, I see that history. Yeah, and the new role for software testers is going to be, if an enterprise uses a lot of artificial intelligence applications, now what is going to be your role as a tester? You are going to do or going to monitoring. So one must have skill for everyone in this room is to understand what is telemetry. Okay, so first thing I told is that track database, graph database. They are going to be your targets. And how do you reach those? How do you reach those targets? English. And English itself has to be tested using what? NLP libraries like NLTK and Spacey. That's all one side of the story. Okay, that's to drive the overall applications. But if the applications are already running, you will find a lot of new test cases exclusively written using telemetry targets. Yeah. If you have already done log file testing in your career, that's well and good. That log file testing is going to extend into the world of telemetry. Yeah. Telemetry is a standard. Okay, several tools implement it. And it's a standard driven by Cloud Native Foundation. So if you are already familiar with telemetry, please forgive me for saying a lot about it, but definitely if not, this is the right time that you pick up what is telemetry and how does telemetry get emitted, how does telemetry get monitored or caught. Yeah. So there are emitters across all the applications of an enterprise. Continuously telemetry will be emitted, and there will be listeners, various kinds of listeners. Suppose let us say if you have already done some report testing, well and good, but that's what. If not, this is the right time to pick it up. Yeah. So if suppose some of you might have heard of Grafana. So yeah. So if Grafana report itself has to be tested, how will you test it? You will have to write code to emit telemetry and then see if that is reflected in your Grafana reports or not. So basically, telemetry, Prometheus, Grafana, these are going to be some of the new things for that madness also you need a method. Okay, and that is where this telemetry comes into picture. And one of the type of testing that everybody in this room will be doing next year is drift testing. Have you heard the term? Drift testing. If a model is able to continue to deliver the results the way how it was trained. So you trained the model, but there is no guarantee that that model will actually have the same performance standards going forward. Today it may give very, very relevant answers and tomorrow it may give irrelevant answers. That means every model in this world today is prone for what we call as drift. Okay, and testing if it is drifting or not itself is going to be one of the key things that everybody in this room is going to do next year. I think we will make it interactive. I don't want to just assume things and talk. Whatever time is there, sort of for next 15 minutes, it will be good if everyone freely talks. Yeah, anyone can raise any topic and we can discuss about it.
Any questions?
Yeah, please.
You have been saying English, or like last 5-10 minutes.
Yes.
About the other countries like European countries.
Yeah. When I say English, please replace it with your favorite language. I mean, natural language. Definitely. Telugu, Kannada, Tamil, Hindi. So basically, when I talked about natural language processing, NLP, the NLP's concepts completely apply to any natural language, not only English. Yeah. Yes.
I'm not a tester.
Okay.
Coming from a marketing and strategy background, all this stuff which you told, I think it's quite scary and also very interesting as well.
Yeah.
My question to you is, while these are, these are going to be the norm in the next 2 or 3 years, if I bring in one data point, it is very recent one. These are research done by testing worldwide.
Okay.
Across some 80 countries they've done. They still, I think the biggest problem is still very basic and fundamental. 60% of QA teams and tech teams and business professionals who the researcher have surveyed, they admitted that deploying untested code often is very, very frequent.
Yeah.
So the fundamentals are still, the problems are still existing.
Yes, absolutely.
There are field issues. The regression testing is nightmarish. So there are fundamental issues still, I think, they do exist and they will continue to exist.
Yeah.
While you're seeing all these, phenomenal stuff, even like, I'm not a tester as I said, but it's really fun. I find it very, very exciting. So how do how do you see this? Do they coexist or something, at least this particular part will be reduced? Or now AI agents will come in.
Yeah.
They'll come with their own hallucinations, biases, complexity.
Yeah.
How do you foresee the future?
Yeah. So the first thing I sold during lockdown was a prompt kit for doing regression testing in a smarter way. Okay. So building such kind of kits is something that everyone is doing now. So such kind of things. So there is a lot of ways. There are a lot of ways how AI is going to accelerate software testing itself. Okay. I can say today that compared to last 2 years, at least 50% of the test cases are now being written by AI, not by human individuals. Yeah? So for example, if you take a typical user story, we know that there will be most of the cases actually business analysts are not smart in writing acceptance criteria, right? And that is the boon for all of us basically, right? As software testers, that is our blessing, right? So whenever we see a user story without acceptance criteria, so a lot of discussions are going to happen. So basically anything unknown definitely is an interesting thing for us, right? So because of course it's our responsibility to evolve it as well. But today, if you really look at normal prompt engineering itself, it is there is no such user story in this world which is very very unique. Some application would have had similar user story in the past. And you know that basically AI models have stolen all the data from everywhere in the world. Right? So therefore, it is very easy for AI to generate acceptance criteria. So now, if AI can generate acceptance criteria, does that mean that everyone in this room can make it generate same? Definitely not. Maybe some people are very good in prompt engineering where actually they can say that, oh, you know what, these are my standards. These are the positive cases, these are the negative cases, these are the edge cases, these are the performance, non-functional requirements, security, etc., 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 etc. Or for example, standards like invest. You know that independent, negotiable, valuable, estimable, small, testable. Right? Every user story has to be. So if you even look at normal invest criteria, whatever is the standard Wikipedia definition for invest, if you copy paste the invest parameters and say that I want acceptance criteria to basically adhere to invest principles within this user story, you can actually enhance the user story itself or score it on its quality parameters and things like that. Yeah. So that is where things are starting, and as you said, regression testing is nightmare. I'm saying right now that previously there were a lot of attempts by people to prevent defects or identify smart regression test cases wherein you can actually, instead of looking at regression testing as a fear factor and like large repetition of billions of test cases, you can today use AI, build a graph of all the application's features and walk that graph in such a way that you will discover what are the high risky areas which are prone to fail. This has been a theory, nobody succeeded in the past. There were so many techniques introduced, but nobody actually got very foolproof way of doing regression testing or smartly identifying only that small subset, which is where the defect clusters exist. So identification of those defect clusters, everything that we are doing in software testing today can be done with prompt engineering. Done better using prompt engineering, right? So test execution itself is not going to be definitely one of the things that is going to exist going forward. Test execution will disappear basically, completely. Yeah.
Okay, Ashwin,
Yes.
it's running out of time, but I would like to you take 2 more minutes and maybe if you're comfortable with sharing your journey when you started your tech journey because that was quite motivating. My working work, so that would be great.
Yeah. So I basically I'm a 10th class dropout. I started my career in 1994. Okay, and the very first software that really excited me was ELISA. Did anybody hear ELISA? ELISA is a psychotherapist program. Okay, with whom you can talk whatever you want with. And I was so busy talking to ELISA that I never really found any interest to go to school. So and ELISA is what we are seeing as ChatGPT, Google Gemini, etc., etc., etc. All of that originally happened in ELISA and without internet, without any data also. Okay, so ELISA is a chatbot. It's one of the original chatbots in the world. Okay, I already knew basics of programming, and I was really surprised how it is able to understand what is in my mind and able to answer. In a very positive, supportive way. Whatever you talk, it's almost like you're talking to your friend. Yeah. So continuously. So the first thing that I did is I did reverse engineering of the ELISA program back into its source code and studied. Oh, okay. So the basic matrix multiplication itself was used in a smarter way where it can actually, we have today what we call as bag of words concept. So the bag of words concept was used pioneered very long back by Elisa. So understanding Elisa, that's when I started my career in 1994. Then later I started teaching Unix, C++, etc. And once Java, definitely I became Java Ashwin in 2000. So I would have trained maybe more than a lakh people in Java. And then I associated with a company today which most of you may not have heard of, called App Labs. App Labs is one of the original software testing companies in the world. And I joined there when I was 19 years old as a project lead. And there was no looking back. So we pioneered software. In fact, actually, we had to become a software testing company. Because wherever we were going, oh, you are a small company, we can't give you our code, it's our intellectual property, etc. You may not be able to handle all the security things and all that. No matter how many legal NDAs, non-disclosure agreements we were ready to sign, but most of the people were not ready to give code. So the easiest entry, the problem became our own. At that time, actually, 3 companies basically started software testing. App Labs, Maverick, some of you know Maverick. Yeah, all of them started more or less in the few months here and there. They all started at the same time. Lion Bridge, RelQ. Yeah. So these are the original software testing companies, and I happened to be in software testing. I really fell in love with software testing in 2000, end of 2000, and from that time I was in testing. And in 2005, I quit App Labs. I was already a principal architect there. And we did all kinds of enterprise software testing projects and all. Later, I quit and built. Today, most of you don't know. There used to be a product, famous product back then, 20 years back, called testersdesk.com. It's the first online toolkit for generating test data, test cases in English, based on certain requirements and things like that. So that we have done 20 years back itself. Okay, and testersdesk.com was my own company. I quit App Labs, and App Labs realized that they should have built it by having me, so they basically bought me back. So, one good thing about App Labs was that we had a dedicated team of 50 people just sitting and writing some software or the other to help software testers in areas anything other than test execution. The only thing that I feel really boring is test execution. So we actually, some of you might be knowing that the biggest software testing problem even today or forever it's going to be is combinatorial testing, right? So how do you deal with it? Raising combinations, right? So you know that actually combinatorial testing techniques is a separate classification of tools. Have you used pairwise testing? Yeah. Yes. So pairwise testing. Actually, there is something called Taguchi method. It's a Japanese method. The Taguchi method is used in in manufacturing. There is a very good problem that has been solved. Suppose, let us say, you have a box, empty box, and you have to pack, and all these articles, water bottles or whatever, everything is thrown on the floor. And suppose, let us say, 2 of you are given boxes of the same size, and the test is who of you can pack maximum number of articles within that box. Now, compare it to software testing. We know that we only have 3 days before we go live. We know that there are 20 testers, let us say. Some portion is already automated, but right now some portion is still in manual, whatever is the state. You know, now on what basis will you decide what to test? One is basically anyway business priority. That is a no-brainer. Other than business priority, what else can do that? That's exactly where this box packaging algorithm from manufacturing has been copied by me in testers desk. So, and we used to generate the test combinations using pairwise technique, and also we have something called orthogonal arrays. Okay, so that again, the importance of orthogonal arrays has already come back, and Meta has released all pairs similar to all pairs. They have released recently one tool now that is being integrated into the CI/CD pipelines very, especially for test driving the ChatGPT. Think like this. How would ChatGPT have been tested? Obviously, there is a huge number of combinations that can occur, right? In what we see as a small no-brainer text area, there is nothing to select there. Just one text area. That's all. What you enter there, the combinations are into any number of millions of combinations can occur. That is exactly so. If and ChatGPT is not built for one type of users, right? It is for the entire world. Yeah. So if it is for the entire world, how would ChatGPT itself be tested? Yeah. That's exactly where combinatorial testing. Combinatorial testing applies to any software testing company, I mean any enterprise in this world. So there are multiple ways people have thought. James Buck, one of the gurus in the past, of course, he still is, has written all pairs. Some people have built. Microsoft has built a tool called PICT. It is still widely used by many organizations. PICT. So that's essentially for combinatorial testing. Yeah. So such kind of tools were built. I don't know why I'm talking about this. Yeah, anyway. So I was acquired back by Applex. So I made a lot of money and I spent all the money. And during lockdown, I realized that actually my savings bank is decreasing. So numbers changed, all zeros disappeared. So back to communication. And all that I am good at is I am a thief basically. I steal things from all other industries and apply it in software testing. Not software testing, exclusively for software testing. That was every idea in tester desk was just that. Anything that is working in other industries, just plug it into software testing. The box packaging algorithm thing that I just now spoke about, which is a typical manufacturing problem. In fact, actually, a lot of logistics companies use box packaging algorithm to optimize their container packaging. Right? And the same thing can be used in software testing also cleverly, which is essentially if you have a million test cases, within your available time window, within available resources that you have to your testers that you have, how will you maximize your test coverage? That is the question. That question is going to exist forever. Yeah. So for that, you've done that. And, right now I'm building something called IVAP, AI Value Assurance. It's going to be next month, book is coming. And we are also defining an open XML standard that will be open source SDK. And commercial product also called as IVAP for software testers, which we will be exclusively doing for doing software testing. Right? In other words, prompt foo, ragas, true-lens. So we did a survey on what are most of the people who are doing AI testing today are not doing testers. Most of them are subject matter experts, domain SMEs. And domain SMEs can't use prompt foo or even blind graph or ROG or all these ROGs. So what we are currently doing is we are defining a standard called IVAP, AI Value Assurance. It's an XML standard for defining test cases that test AI applications. So, in other words, basically, whatever I spoke today is a marketing pitch for IVAP. What is it?
Your music
Yeah, actually, what happened is when Valuements was the name of my company that was acquired by Applex. Applex itself was acquired by CSC. All my shares suddenly jumped. A lot of zeros got added. And I made a mission statement saying that I am relocating to Mumbai to become a. If you have seen that opportunity to do a movie like that, that demo version, but that demo version did not work out. So back to army.
Thank you, Ashwin.